Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with music I just didn't get until I heard the version by... Well, the music I just didn't get was Brahms' Second Symphony. I mean, everybody loves Brahms' Second Symphony, right? It's his most popular symphony. I didn't get it. And the reason I didn't get it, well, I'm not sure why I didn't get it. I think one of the reasons I didn't get it is that I love Brahms' First Symphony. Brahms' First Symphony was like my mother's favorite symphony. We heard it constantly. And, my entree into classical music was my mother's record collection. So we had Brahms first. We didn't have any of the others. We had that work, and I just thought it was fabulous. I didn't know there were any others. And I wasn't raised, I was raised to love music. Classical music was part of the music that we loved. And I didn't think that Brahms was like Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. We didn't do Bach. We didn't do Bach at all. And Beethoven, yes, of course. But there were others. There was Tchaikovsky. There was Dvorak. They were all just in a jumble, and we liked them all selectively. I liked the records that I had access to. I wasn't studying an instrument. I wasn't raised in a family that believed in the supremacy of German culture, that we had to revere a certain list of artists. None of that. We just liked what we liked. And it was part of our normal daily existence, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful things about the way I came to classical music. I came to it not as classical. I came to it as just something to be enjoyed as part of your normal daily existence. And one of those was Brahms first. So later, as I began to understand that there was this body of work called classical music, and I liked it, I started listening to the rest of the Brahms symphonies. But by then, I'd already heard Dvorak, I'd heard Mendelssohn, I'd heard my first experiences of Mahler, which was mind-blowing, and contemporary composers, Shostakovich's Fifth, things like that. So getting to know Brahms in that context was problematic for me. I liked the third and I liked the fourth immediately, but the second, it just struck me as drab, orchestrally drab and melodically less interesting. And the first movement particularly, I just thought it went nowhere. It was slow to get going. It had no excitement. The development section had these gnarly harmonies that just sounded wrong. The coda went on forever. The slow movement lacked melody. I was like, yeah. The third movement was delicious. I always loved it. The finale, well, that was fun, and the ending was terrific, but it just took forever to get there from the beginning of the symphony. It just didn't hit me. And it's Brahms' most popular symphony. Everyone's supposed to love it. And performances that I heard of it seemed alternately lightweight and boring. It was just, it had no substance for me at all. But then I heard of this one. Carlo Maria Giulini with the Los Angeles Philharmonic. First of all, it was the first recording of the Brahms second I heard with the exposition repeat in the first movement. Now, you might think, I used to be very dogmatic about repeats. You always take them, period. And I've seen a lot of you who have the same attitude. So let me tell all of you people who have the same attitude, lighten up. It doesn't matter. If it's a great performance, it's still a great performance. You can always go back and play it again if it's nothing to obsess about. Brahms himself actually said that repeats were only necessary if the music wasn't well known. But once you know the work, you don't need the repeat. That was his attitude. Anyway, this had the exposition repeat in the first movement. It is a very slow, serious performance. It really is. I mean, not slow in the labored sort of way, but deliberate. It's one of those. It is gorgeously played, gorgeously recorded. Giulini did a remake with the Vienna Philharmonic for DG without the repeat, actually. It wasn't nearly as good. And he did one earlier one, too, which I'd never heard at the time. But this just struck me as so intentional everything had purpose and point. And that nasty development section in the first movement really reached out and grabbed me. The slow movement had that Elgarian nobility, that nobilmente, which is where Elgar got it, of course, or one of the places. And even the finale, which was not as zippy as some of the other ones, but it had this top to bottom balance. At the very end, with the brass are roaring out, yumpa da 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 da, you could hear the violins, screaming at the top of their range and counterpoint. It was just thrilling. Absolutely glorious, and I got it. And after that, I could go back and listen to all the ones I didn't like before, the ones that I thought were lightweight or less interesting or whatever, and I had no problem, and I could enjoy them. I could enjoy them for what they brought to the party, for legitimate alternate views of the work. You see, it wasn't a performance that precluded my enjoyment of anything else. It was a performance that revealed the potentialities of the work so that I could go back and listen to everything else. And that's the way I like to think of these sort of revelatory performances, not things that are exclusive. Rather, they're inclusive because they describe the music to me. They explain the work to me. And so now I have no problem loving Brahms' Second Symphony. And I do. I think it's marvelous. Everything has its place. That slow movement, it's gorgeous. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But I owe that to Carlo Maria Giulini in the LA Philharmonic, that Deutsche Grammophon recording. He did the first and the second. He didn't do the third and fourth. I wish he had. That would have been a Brahms cycle for the ages. But 1 and 2 are amazing. Number 1 gives Klemperer a serious run for his money. And number 2, like I said, it has all of those, it just manifests all of the expressive intensity, I think, that's in the work in its own way. Granted. For some, it may be too much of a good thing. I don't know. But it really did it for me. And it just goes to show, as I think all of these talks will, that, we all come to things through our own path, our own way. And we need, above all, to keep on listening. Absolutely. And so that's what I suggest that you do. Thank you very, very much for joining me, friends. Take care.